Hello, fourth grade. I'm glad you're back for another art lesson. Today, we're going to be working on lines. So let's go ahead and get started. I need you in the upper right-hand corner of your paper to put your name. I'm going to write my name. Need you to write your name. Remember, I'm Miss Bowen. Underneath that, I need you to put an A and a T if you're an Austin Tracy student. And you'll put a T and an H if you're a Temple Hill student. So whichever one you are, please put that there for me. Remember, I'm at two schools, so it could get really confusing. Underneath that, I need you to put your grade. You are fourth graders. Now, anytime I'm going too fast, what do? You just pause the video. All right, at the top, we're going to write the word line. That's our learning intention for today. We are learning about line. Now, our success criteria. How are we going to be successful? Well, we've got to be able to identify some lines. So draw this line right here for me. And I need you to write underneath that. You're kind of taking notes today. I need you to write underneath that the word vertical. I need you to understand that a line that goes from top to bottom, north to south, that is a vertical line. The next kind of line we're going to talk about goes left to right. And you can use the little light blue lines on the paper to help you draw that. We call that a horizontal line. The next kind of line we're going to talk about can either go this way or it can be slanted this way. And those are our diagonal lines. And you may be thinking, where have I heard about these before? These are the same type of lines that you see in your math classes. And as teachers over the summer, we identified that some of the places that we may have some gaps or didn't get to as much as we wanted to last year because of COVID-19 was dealing with geometry. And so dealing with lines and angles, we're afraid didn't get touched on as much as we want to. So I'm trying to help out a little bit and do that in art as well. So we got vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. The next type of line we're going to look at is called intersecting. And that's where lines cross each other. Two lines that just cross. They can cross like that. They can cross like this. They can be, just slightly crossed. But these are intersecting lines. So again, I want you taking notes on these. Part of your grade is going to be, you're going to show me a picture of this front page here so that I can tell that you followed along. So vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and these are all examples of intersecting lines. The other one we need to talk about is called perpendicular. That's where a vertical and a horizontal line will meet. And where they meet, we get a squared edge. Like a squared edge like you would use to build with, to make squares and rectangles with. It can be as simple as a T. It could be a lowercase t. See here we'd have 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 squared edges. It's called perpendicular. It's also called a right angle. I think that's referring to it has to be right in order to be able to build with it. So it has to form a 90-degree angle here. And they show that with a 90 and a little circle above it. So all of these are called 3 different things. You might hear them called perpendicular lines. You might hear them called a right angle. And you might hear them called a 90-degree angle. But it's where a vertical and a horizontal meet and form a squared edge, a corner on that. Makes a 90-degree angle. It's also called a right angle. All right, let's draw a line all the way across here. That would be a horizontal line, wouldn't it? So that separates our learning intentions from our success criteria. We're going to be successful today if we can draw a picture that shows vertical, horizontal, diagonal, intersecting, and perpendicular lines. So we're going to do something today called a cityscape. Now, a cityscape is where an artist will draw what they would see out in a city if they were looking out of their window. Around here, we have landscapes. If we look out our windows, we're going to see trees and forest and farmland. But if you're in a big city and you look out your window, all you're going to see are buildings. So they call it a cityscape. So let's do a vertical line. This one takes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines on your paper. Let's do another vertical line the same length. And then let's do a horizontal line to make them into rectangles. These are going to look like the big skyscraper buildings that you see in the city. Now, just to make it interesting, let's go down 2 lines and let's draw another one using horizontal and vertical. So let's make that our second building. And then let's make our third one even a little bit shorter. How about that? Now, to keep it interesting, let's leave a little space like this is going to be a street or alleyway. And let's go back and do another tall building. Let's leave it just a little bit shorter than this one. Like that. And then maybe let's do one more that's just more of a square than a rectangle. Now, let's evaluate what we've drawn so far. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you pause the video. But all we've done so far are vertical and horizontal lines. But we can check off vertical. We have plenty of them. Let's put a check here that yes, we can identify, and we've drawn those. I need to finish this one off here. And we've drawn horizontal lines. Those are the lines here on the tops of the buildings and the lines on the bottom of the buildings. So those are our horizontal. I see one more place where we could add maybe a diagonal line because we've got to include those. How about on these shorter buildings, we do diagonal lines that give us roofs on these shorter buildings. That then lets us meet our criteria for a diagonal line. Now, let's skip intersecting for a while. What about perpendicular? And let me show you something one of my kids in class pointed out to me this week. They said, why do you have these in both places? There's a T here and a T here, a lowercase t. Well, a lowercase t intersects. This bar intersects this one. The vertical intersects the horizontal, or the horizontal intersects the vertical, however you want to say it. So it's an intersecting line, but it's also a perpendicular line because look, it makes 90-degree angles, it makes corners. So it fits under both categories. And that can happen. Let's go down here to perpendicular lines. Do we have any place where we have squared edges? Well, they're all over the place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's 20 of them. We definitely have perpendicular here. Anytime a vertical meets a horizontal, it's going to make a 90-degree angle. So anytime you draw a square or a rectangle, you are drawing perpendicular lines because it's where they meet. It makes a 90-degree angle. That just leaves us with our intersecting lines. We don't know where we're going to put those. Well, we know when we draw a cityscape, buildings that we see have windows in them, just like our smaller homes do here in the country. So let's go in here and let's add some little squares, again, vertical and horizontals. And let's start dressing up these buildings so they really look like a city. And don't forget, you got to put a door. So I'm going to put a door there. Now to get this intersecting in, if you look at your windows in your house, more than likely they have intersecting bars in the middle of them for support. So we could put little plus signs in the middle of all these windows. And this is going to be hard with this big thick marker so that it shows up on tape. Remember, you're using a pencil. Yours will look better than mine. But we can put our intersecting lines in the middle of those. Maybe this building just has big circle windows. And maybe a wider door. A double door even. And I can put my intersecting windows in there. Maybe they'll show up a little better for you on film. So I can put a check now beside intersecting windows. So I'm just now going to work on making my city, I'm going to do a line through here, making my cityscape just a little more interesting. So I can add all kinds of windows. Maybe this one just has long rectangular windows. Don't forget the doors. Maybe this one has lots of windows in rows. Remember, those are vertical and horizontal. Maybe this one just has one really large opening on it. You may even want to put lightning rods on the big buildings in cities that have lightning rods. You may even want to put a flag on one of them. That would get you another diagonal line in there. Okay, besides our roofs. And then you may want to put a broken line like we talk about when you're a younger student. We talk about just straight and curvy and broken and zigzag. Maybe you want to put one of those in there so you have a street and those are the passing lanes like what we see on our highways. So that's a pretty good little cityscape for you. So how do you get credit for this class? Well, you take a picture of the front where I see you took notes and you drew along with me. And then on the back of the paper, you're going to draw your own cityscape. You don't have to color it because you are doing this virtually, so you may not have supplies at home. But I have to see a front and a back in order to give you credit. Now, Mr. Bunches came back this week, and I think Mr. Edwards has also at Temple Hill. And they have told us that hopefully by the end of this week, first of next week, there will also be some bins outside of the schools where you can drop off work if you're a virtual student. So if you have trouble emailing this back to me, you could just put it in those bins and I could give you credit that way. Or you'll have a total of 7 lessons during this 9 weeks. Because remember, I'm not at every school every week, so you won't have a full 9. But you could wait and put all 7 together and turn them in that box if you wanted to. I would hate for your parents to have to make 7 separate trips. But you could do that, or you could always just mail it to the school. So, email, mail, drop-off box. We got 3 ways now you can get your work back to us. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time.